Hi there, Chris here, another quick tip for you all. In this video we're going to continue our look at painting the Warhammer Quest Silver Tower box set models. And in this video we are going to take a look at the WarPriest of Sigmar. And as you can see here, the model's already been primed in a light gray using Vallejo surface primer sprayed from an airbrush at around 30 psi, 25 psi, something like that. Not too heavily, of course. And we're going to get started with some dryad bark with Lamayan medium just to help thin it down. You could use a little bit of water to help with the flow and just thinning it down. But because we have it thinned down in a little bit, we will have to apply more than one coat. And as you can see here, we're simply just applying it into all the little areas that are going to need it. The armpit area and his little bit of his arm, his face, and the top of his head, as well as the other arm. Now the other arm is a little bit tricky to get into, and so if you have not assembled this model yet, you might want to leave that little book off from the model before applying paint into that area, just so that you can kind of get into the little nooks and crannies a little bit easier. It's not terribly difficult, but it's, you know, it just makes life a little bit easier if you left that book off. Again, you can see it's just simply getting into those areas, and then here we are going around and applying a second coat. I've switched to a detail brush here just so I can be a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more careful as I apply the color around the areas. Again, just making sure that we're not obscuring any details, but because we are working with a nice thin coat, we really do not run the risk of that. And again, we're getting a nice smooth finish once it's all set and done. Again, using the detail brush allows us to get into some of those nooks and crannies a little bit easier, a little more safely as well, not getting into any other details. Agrax Earthshade is next, and this is going to be applied fairly generously onto the model's flesh areas. Again, we want it to kind of pool up into some of the recesses, some of the folds within the muscle areas, as well as some of the areas like in the collar and things like that helps separation. Around the crown area, we want a little bit more depth in that area, and of course, you know, just give us a nice, deep, rich skin tone. Again, we're being very, very careful here as we work our way into those little areas around the arm. If you do hit other areas, I mean, it's not a big deal. You can always just come back, and again, that's why we're starting with the flesh here. Next, we're going to come back with some dryad bark and some Bugman's Glow. We're going to mix these in roughly a 3-to-1 mix ratio. 3 dryad bark to 1 Bugman's Glow. A little bit of medium or dampness of the brush just to help thin it out just a little bit. And basically, we are going to apply this over pretty much all the big muscle groups onto the on the model. So it's pretty much just the big muscle areas, like the entire bicep, you know, the pectoral, and then I don't know, whatever this muscle is called on the rib cage area. But anyway, I think you guys are going to get the point here. Again, they're just basically highlighting the entire muscle. We're not going with any kind of particular type of highlighting scheme. We're not doing zenithal. We're not doing edge highlighting. We're just simply just coloring each of the little mounds of muscle on this guy. Mounds of muscle. And as you can see here, we're just simply following around. And again, we're also highlighting the underside as well. So again, it's not really consistent with any kind of, you know, fancy highlighting scheme. Again, we just want to get this nice deep tones occurring onto the model. Again, we can catch the other shoulder and the bicep, little tricep, and that little muscle that's in between the bicep and tricep. I don't know what it's called, but anyway. And then once we get to the face, we're simply going to concentrate most of the color on the cheekbones, the chin, the brow, the top of the head, the end of the, well, pretty much the majority of the nose at this point. Because again, we want more of the deeper tone in towards the eyes and the mouth areas, and also the under the chin gives us a nice deep shadow-like quality underneath there. And so we're just getting the upper lip, the lower lip, the chin. I also follow the muscle group that runs from the cheek downwards towards the jawline, and then the jawline that is towards the back closest to the ear. I also give that just a quick little highlight as well. Again, giving a little bit of a shadow in between his in his cheek area. Just gives him kind of that, you know, muscly man kind of appearance, I guess. And so once that is ready to go, we're going to come in with some more Bugman Glow. And we're going to add this in and making the mix ratio roughly a 2-to-1. And of course, I always say roughly because, again, I'm using my paintbrush to grab little dollops of paint and apply them to my palette and then mixing them. And, you know, grabbing little dollops of paint with your paintbrush is not an exact science. And, you know, if we had a dropper, you know, you could add like 1 drop, 2 drop kind of thing. And again, it's just, you know, it's not an exact science, but, you know, once you are consistent, you can get consistent results. And so as long as you're consistent on how much paint you're grabbing at a time when you're mixing, you should have no troubles, you know, maintaining accurate color mixtures. You can see here it has the highlights. I'm working my way around. I'm highlighting the uppermost portion of each of those little muscles. And for the cheeks here, is it really just going to be, or for the face, I should say, it's just the cheek, the end of the nose, the brow, just a bit of the upper lip, the bottom lip, and the center of the chin. The jawline will get just a little bit of a highlight as well, and catching the ear as well. Really, the top of the head is just more towards the front of the face. I allowed more of the color to build up rather than at the back. Next, we're going to add more Bugman's Glow. Shocking. And this is going to make it roughly a 1-to-1 mix ratio. And this is going to be applied very carefully, as we're really not applying a whole lot of color down onto the model. It's just a very, very minimal amount that is going to be applied to the model. And it's really just to, you know, kind of bring out just like this is pretty much where it's kind of like an edge highlight, but not quite. We're not, you know, going all the way around the muscle. It's pretty much just the peak of the muscle, like where the top, like it's kind of like a zenithal, but just very, very minimal. You can see here again, it's just very, very minimal highlights, and it's just kind of like a little dot under the cheek, little dot on the chin, the upper and lower lip, tip of the nose, and the front of the forehead as well. Also, no, the brow as well. But essentially, that is it. That is the WarPriest skin tone. And so next we'll be working on the cloth of this guy. We have even more painting tutorials in the Silver MiniWarGaming Vault. I want to catch another one today about how I paint up all the little brimstone guys. They're in the vault. The last one being how I painted the little guys in the fluorescent colors. Just click on the video link in the description below. Watch it right now. If you don't have a MiniWarGaming Vault membership, you can click on the link, sign up for a free 7-day trial. Make sure you click the silver membership, gain access to all the painting tutorials, and you'll get instant access to over 1,000 painting tutorials already in the vault. And so thank you for watching. Happy wargaming.